Hi, it's Victoria Lorient-Fabish, holistic psychotherapist and coach. Today I want to talk to you about the lovely month of September and the fall and autumn season that it brings on. So many people in my practice experience depression, anxiety, and social anxiety around this time. It seems that the brain perceives the shortening of the days, perceives that this is a time where there's more learning curves, more contracts. It's the time to get back to work, get back in the swing of things. We've had the lazy summer, and now we're into, okay, here we go, new season. The dying of the leaves seems to trigger people, the colder weather, the shortening of the day. All of these things seem to signal for many, many people a time of really feeling not well emotionally. And social anxiety, and depression seem to be heightened around this time. New semester beginnings, new contracts, new jobs. So it's a very important time, and I really want to give you 4 very important tools to handle this time. Number 1 is the tool of light. Give yourself a light box. Go to Costco. I've priced them. They're not very expensive. I think Kmart sells them as well. Whatever. The point is that a light box is a very important way to tell the brain, hey, it's not that dark. And just a half an hour to an hour a day will really improve mood. Also, get the vitamin D going. Liquid D is an amazing way to have the body ingest the D. 4 drops. It's about 4,000 IUs. Really good for people who experience a seasonal affective disorder. And of course, don't forget your fish oils. It's very important. And for those of you who need it, some 5-HTP. If you're not on an antidepressant, 5-HTP is a good amino acid complex to help boost the brain's ability to create its own serotonin. So, a couple of 100 milligrams in the morning as a booster. It's great to help you sleep at night as well. But if you're trying to mood elevate, in the morning would be a good idea. Also, tool number 2, stop scaring yourself. Stop telling yourself catastrophe, monstrosity-oriented stories. And those of you who grew up in families that's just a way you communicate, where there's a lot of catastrophizing and worst-case scenarioing, you are really vulnerable to what you tell your brain. And your brain will believe the stories you tell it. So tell your brain good stories. Find out what is the evidence to support more positive scenarios. Sit down with each fear and see if you can write a paragraph opposite to that fear, really logically looking at the evidence that supports the more trusting, peaceful, happy thought, as opposed to the awful catastrophe thought. Really spend time getting the logic in order for the good outcome, for the good thinking, for the positive pattern thinking. Okay? Because the brain is basically just ready to be told what you tell it. And if you keep telling it a negative, future worrying oriented story, and don't confuse future worrying with future planning. Future worrying is where you look at this unknown future that you have no idea how it's going to be, and you infuse negativity and monstrosity oriented thinking. It's going to be the worst possible year. I'm never going to measure up. What if this happens? What if that happens? Get out of the future. The future's up for grabs. Similarly, get out of the past. The past is over. So get in the present moment, focus on the present as much as you possibly can, and notice that your system will calm itself down by simply getting out of the future, getting out of the past, getting out of the catastrophe thinking, getting out of the scary stories, and just breathe and stay in the very moment. Number 2, speak nicely with the inner child. Usually that fearful part of us is the hurt, deprived child. It becomes a bully. If you really don't listen to that child, it'll transform into an angry, bullying energy. And that bullying is saying, why don't you do better? And comparing yourself to other people, and what's wrong with you, and criticism and judgment, and all of this stuff. You've got to really neutralize this bully within and see that bully is just a hurt, deprived child who wants to be loved unconditionally. So speak to the child within as a parent would, a parent that is very unconditional, very loving, very non-judgmental, and comfort that part of you. That part of you needs you to do that for her or him because no one else is doing it, so you got to do it for yourself. Also, stop basing your joy on the weather. So many people are like, oh, the weather. Listen, especially if you live in North America, as I do here in Toronto, if you live in a cooler climate in North America, you cannot base your joy state on the weather. It's like building a house on an earthquake fault line. It's kind of not a good idea. It's not that secure. Weather in Canada, weather in the United States, not that secure. And much of Scandinavia, I imagine, and much of Britain, etc. You cannot base your sense of okayness, your sense of joy on the weather. Okay, these are important tools for you to look at. I want you to know that there is, at every turn, an opportunity for you to be thinking in a positive way. So as the September time comes on, you are going to be challenged to think more positively, meditate more, take your vitamin D, do a light box to help your seasonal affective disorder part of you, take supplementation, go for therapy, and talk nicely to yourself. Treat yourself as if you were a parent, a kind, loving, unconditional parent, and also write down all of the positive evidence for all the positive things going on. Don't feed the negative. Two lions. One is all about fear and negativity. One is all about positivity and hopefulness. Who do you think is going to win? The one you feed. Feed the positivity. Don't feed the negativity. Have a wonderful season. I just want to say, once again, my email is askvictoria@rogers.com. Please email me with your short questions. And if you want to book a session also, phone session or live session if you're in Toronto, 416-916-6066. Have a wonderful season and enjoy the fall. Okay, we will talk soon. I'm thinking of you.